This is Anita Knutson reporting live from Governor, Dakota. There is a ginormous tornado coming towards us in the southeast.
At only 18 years old, Anita Knutson was living on her own, working 2 jobs, and putting herself through college at Minot State University. Her life, it seemed, was just beginning, and yet
I touched her head,
someone wanted her dead.
and she was cold.
When she was just a baby, Anita was taken in by Gordon and Sharon Knutson. Her adopted siblings, Daniel and Anna, soon followed.
She didn't really care a lot about what other people thought of her. She was the nicest person I've ever known.
If you were an underdog, she was befriending you.
One of those underdogs she befriended was Tyler Schmaltz. Tyler was smitten with Anita. They went to senior prom together, even though Anita liked him only as a friend.
She did mention one time after the prom that he was kind of persistent.
After high school, he moved into the same apartment complex to be closer. Close enough to be there on the darkest June day imaginable for Anita's family.
I called her Saturday just out of habit of calling her every day almost. And she didn't answer, so I called Sunday, no answer Sunday. So Monday I called her and still no answer, and she should have been answering her phone.
Monday afternoon, Anita's father goes to her apartment to check on her. The door is locked. The maintenance worker shows him a slice of window screen he found in the yard from Anita's bedroom.
They go over to where the window was, and I seen somebody laying in there. And I walked over, and the window was open, and I touched her head. And I said, "You get that door open right now."
At first, there are no signs of trouble, but Anita's bedroom looks like the set of a horror movie.
The mattress was soaked with blood. From that point, I think I was just in total shock.
In that state of shock, Gordon gave the rest of his family the news.
He just called me and he said, "Anita's dead." That was real hard, because for the adoption I had to go to court and tell the judge I would take care of her and make sure she was safe her whole life. And I didn't manage to do that. Didn't protect her that one day.
Across town, Anita's siblings are in disbelief.
We're driving home and my brother was crying. I was like, "Daniel, what's wrong?" Like, I've never really seen my brother cry or even be like the slightest bit sad. And he's like, "Anita's dead. She's the nicest person. Like, what happened?" And he told me that somebody killed her. And
Police arrive and scour the crime scene.
According to the forensics, the crime lab said that she was killed on Sunday morning. It was with a pocket knife, 3-4-inch blade, I would suspect, multiple stab wounds to the chest.
In what seems like a stroke of luck, investigators find the murder weapon, a cheap novelty pocket knife at the foot of Anita's bed. But the motive for her murder is much more elusive. No signs of sexual assault and nothing missing.
It's not considered a robbery at all, just plain murder.
Police start by talking to those closest to Anita, and few seem closer than her old senior prom date, Tyler, who had created tribute pages and videos on social media.
I thought that Tyler was acting suspicious, and I thought it could be him.
don't get me wrong, I appreciate all that he's done, but I think it's a little odd that he's so involved. A bit obsessive, yeah.
But Tyler cooperates, giving police DNA samples and interviews. Others were interviewed also, including a jogger who ran by the house that day. But was there someone not yet on their radar? Well, there is one person.
According to Anita, on her cell phone, this person would text to her, threatening letters. Anita was scared of her.
My parents don't know this, but one Christmas we opened all of our gifts and we wrapped them all back up and went back to bed, and I guess that's probably my fondest memory of her.
Shortly after Anita Knutson is stabbed to death in her own bed, police comb Minot, North Dakota for suspects. They look at numerous persons of interest, including her prom date, Tyler Schmaltz. But there was one other person who lived about as close to Anita as anyone could get.
She had a roommate.
Back then, Anita and Nicole Thomas roomed together after graduating high school. Police soon learned that they had a volatile friendship, fighting over just about everything. Sometimes it even got physical.
And she was planning on moving out.
Police say Nicole also sent threatening texts. Anita was afraid for her life. They brought her in for questioning.
The day of the funeral, this roommate's mother came to me and was very upset because the police had requested that this roommate had go down to the police station that day.
Nicole told police she spent the whole weekend at her parents' house on the other side of town. Police took DNA samples and let her go. No reason to hold her further, they said. Other persons of interest just couldn't be tied to the murder, and Anita's case grew icy cold. Though the family desperately tries to move on, her brother Daniel can't cope with the loss. Then another tragedy.
He shot himself. He was lost without her because they were super close. I talked to him the day before he committed suicide, and he was fine. And then the next day, he was gone.
The Knutson family was left with no justice at all.
Anita and Daniel, I mean, they were my brother and sister. Like,
As the case grew colder by the year, frustration mounted.
We understand that, and we really wish that we could come up with the answers for the family.
Answers would come in due time.
Everybody, until we get new direction in this case, is still somebody that could possibly be involved.
Remember Anita's old roommate, Nicole? At the time, police learned Nicole got belligerently drunk at a party shortly after the murder, allegedly confessing to a guy she was dating that she killed Anita.
We did try and pursue that. An arrest has not been made.
And it would take almost 15 years, but investigators later dived back in.
Although most of the detectives who worked the original scene and investigation have retired, we have not forgotten about this case.
Finding all kinds of inconsistencies in Nicole's alibi of being at her parents' home, doggedness, and DNA that possibly doesn't rule out Rice as the killer finally led to a stunning arrest.
At about 3:25 p.m., 34-year-old Nicole Rice was arrested for murder and taken to Ward County Jail. I wish we could have solved this sooner, but at the same time, I'm glad to say that we have a person responsible for the murder of Anita Knutson in custody.
Nicole Rice, formerly Nicole Thomas, on her second marriage, was working as a civilian on Minot Air Force Base. In court, Rice pleaded not guilty and was released on a $250,000 bond. Her defense counsel is challenging police evidence and claimed she couldn't get a fair trial in the small town because of the publicity. The judge granted her a change of venue, and she now awaits a January trial date.
This is Anita Knutson reporting live from...
One life stolen in its prime, a family destroyed, and pain that will never go away.
I go out, visit with her and Daniel a lot. But it's you have these little people in your life, and it's really hard. And they're not there anymore. And that's about it.
why? I mean, why?